Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, May 20th, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. Governor Baker announces the state will reopen fully from the COVID-19 pandemic next weekend. 2 people are dead, including a 14-year-old boy, following a shooting Tuesday near Griffin Park. We recap last week's conviction of former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia, and Fall River's replica Vietnam Wall gets dedicated. All this and more coming up. As more people get vaccinated in Massachusetts and state and federal health officials see a decline in COVID-19 infections, Governor Charlie Baker this week announced the Commonwealth will fully reopen next week on May 29th.
We said since day one that we'll get through this together because the people of Massachusetts are strong, kind, and willing to sacrifice to help their neighbor. Today, more than ever, we know that's the truth. Massachusetts is effectively battling back in its campaign against the virus. Nearly every student in the state is back in the classroom, and we've reopened nearly every industry. We're safer, smarter, and better equipped in this fight than at any time since it began. And thanks to all your work, we're willing to take the next step forward together.
Baker said by early June, the state will have over 4 million residents fully vaccinated. This means the state will follow federal regulations when it comes to the use of face coverings.
Effective May 29th, the face covering order will also be rescinded and will be replaced by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's new guidance for vaccinated and unvaccinated people. At that time, the Department of Public Health will issue a public health advisory urging all unvaccinated residents to wear face coverings in most indoor settings. The department will advise all vaccinated residents that it's safe to go back to doing the things we all used to do before this pandemic, consistent with the CDC's new guidance. The Department of Public Health will also be issuing a new public health order that will mandate the use of face coverings by everyone, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, in a small number of specific places such as nursing homes, healthcare settings, public transportation, and in schools.
Baker plans to end the state of emergency on June 15th. Here in Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan says more of city government will soon be fully reopened.
We are reopened now. There's no check-in on the first floor anymore. You can come in and conduct your business. We are seeing some positive trends, though, for people that aren't overwhelming the collector's office. They're now using Bay Coast, which is our partner on bill collecting. So maybe that'll be a long-term result of the pandemic, and that's positive because people can go at night or on Saturdays, and it gives them some options. We're going to be opening up the library. We had a meeting yesterday about our senior centers. I think if we can get the right people in place, we do have a couple of people that may not be coming back that were coordinators. So we're going to get our senior centers open, shortly. And those are the things that we're going to see differently in the city of Fall River. And restaurants that need our support will be getting it, and they can have people in there without masks now also. So again, a lot of things are going to start to blossom all at once. We got to keep our finger on it and do whatever we can to support both organizations and businesses that are coming out of this.
Here's the latest now on the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine here in Fall River. 37,292 residents, or 42%, have received at least one dose of the vaccine, with 28,373 residents, or 32%, now fully vaccinated. An update is expected later today. You can get the latest on our webpage, frmedia.org/COVID vaccine. The easiest way to find out where to get the vaccine in Fall River is through the city's vaccination webpage at frvax.com, or you can call 833-8VAX-NOW. That's 833-882-9669. Our local pharmacies, as well as Stop & Shop and Walmart, are also distributing the vaccine. The best way to find out about appointments there is through the state's website, vaxfinder.mass.gov. You can also call 211. In many instances, walk-ins are welcome. Fall River Police are working with state police and the Bristol County District Attorney's Office investigating a shooting Tuesday near Griffin Park that claimed 2 lives and wounded another. 29-year-old Jovan Mills and 14-year-old Megan Sanjurjo, both of Fall River, were pronounced dead Tuesday afternoon. A 19-year-old man is being treated for a gunshot wound at Rhode Island Hospital. Police Chief Jeffrey Cardoza says he could not comment on any potential suspects or a motive at this time, but investigators are looking at physical evidence, interviewing neighbors, and reviewing video surveillance.
There's a lot of wonderful people, Keith, that live up in the Corky Row neighborhood. And, they're frustrated and I'm frustrated, and we're going to try to work together. I spoke with Mark from the Corky Neighborhood Row Club. The mayor's been up there as well. And yes, your answer to the video situation is that every case that we work, whether it's from the most mild case to a homicide, video is extremely important to us.
Chief Cardoza says gun violence remains the #1 public safety issue facing Fall River, and he remains committed to devising strategies to combat the problem by working in conjunction with the community.
There's a lot of different ways that we approach this. It can go from having our own surveillance systems up to having foot patrols as a preventative measure. So, and everything in between. One of the things that we're doing is, and I've talked about this before, I don't mean to be redundant, but we're really closely allying and partnering, if you will, with our federal and state partners. I've been on the phone weekly with District Attorney Quinn about different things. And if we can put a case on you for gun violence, myself and the District Attorney are going to do everything we can to make sure that you're incarcerated for a very long time.
Many across the city are still reacting to last Friday's federal court conviction of former Fall River Mayor Jasiel Correia on 21 of 24 charges of wire fraud, tax fraud, extortion, and conspiracy. He was found guilty on all 13 counts of wire fraud and tax fraud in relation to his Snow Owl app company, and on 8 counts of extortion and conspiracy in seeking money in exchange for non-opposition letters for potential recreational marijuana vendors looking to start a business in Fall River. Correia was released, but fitted with a GPS bracelet until his sentencing on September 20th. Outside the courthouse following his conviction, Correia remained defiant.
We have many grounds for appeal, and we'll discuss that at a later time. This won't be the last that you hear of our efforts. So I just want to say, before we get into the intersection, so nobody gets hurt, I just love my family, my friends that are out there. The people of Fall River know the job that I did for the city was a good job.
Your lawyer says you were stunned by the verdict?
Excuse me. And unfortunately, the justice system failed us today, but our fight's not over. I have a very strong family, very strong friends, and I'm a very strong person. So I just thank everybody out there that's been praying for us. I thank God for the comfort that he's given us every single day during this trial. And we're not done. This is just not a great day, but I've had other not great days, and everybody here knows that's watched this unfold. But we're going to have a great day of vindication, and eventually the real truth will come out. There were no facts that were brought forward. There was no overwhelming evidence. Unfortunately, there was a couple things that didn't go our way that were technical today, and that's what will be our grounds for appeal. And we'll win that appeal, and I will be vindicated, and my future will be very long and great. So
why didn't you testify?
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Acting U.S. Attorney Nathaniel Mendel says the evidence in the case was overwhelming.
Correia made a lot of promises, a lot of bold statements in business, in politics, and in government. The jury found today in its verdict the truth. He defrauded investors, lied on his taxes, and extorted hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes as mayor of Fall River. In business, he promoted himself as a successful app developer. Not quite. As the jury found today, the truth is that he went to people who trusted him, who believed in him, and he took their investments for an app, but he used the money mostly for himself, for romantic getaways, for casinos, cars, adult entertainment, sex toys. Appalling. He even used some of the money to fund his mayoral campaign in Fall River. And in politics and government, he promoted himself as the man with honest answers for Fall River. But in the end, he sold his office He extorted bribes from people who wanted to open marijuana dispensaries in his city. He sold his office, and he sold out the people of Fall River. That is illegal.
Defense attorney Kevin Reddington said there are many grounds for an appeal.
Jasiel has been nothing but a gentleman, very stoic, strong family support throughout. He's been very, very proactive in his defense. Needless to say, I don't even want to say disappointed. I think he's somewhat stunned in the sense that, I'll give you an example. Count A, we showed that the check received from Cabaceres for $6,000 was deposited the next day, and then it went out for expenses for the statewide developers. So I don't know how they could find him guilty of stealing that $6,000, but they obviously did. We respect the jury verdict, but that's what we have appeals courts for.
Would like to thank WCVB Channel 5 in Boston for their support in acquiring that video. Correia was found not guilty on 2 counts of extortion and conspiracy on allegations he sought payment in the form of a Rolex watch in exchange for the city to pick up the cost of waterline work for Correia co-conspirator Antonio Costa. Also, the jury found Correia not guilty of bribery on the charge he sought half the salary and a snow stipend from former Chief of Staff Genevieve Andrade in exchange for her employment with the city. Local attorney Stephen Sabra feels evidence on the bribery charge was the weakest part of the prosecution's case.
There was a statement that came into evidence from Ms. Andrade, and there were some financial documents that showed money going from one to the other, but not really needing the elements of bribery, which one of the elements, the fourth one being that Mr. Correia acted corruptly with intent to de-influence or rewarded. And interestingly enough, that was the charge where Andrade did not end up testifying, and that I believe was part of her plea agreement with the government. So without her testimony that there was some type of really some type of force in a way, or requirement that she give half of her salary to the mayor, I think that was probably one of the reasons the jury came back as not guilty.
Correia faces a maximum penalty of 20 years in jail. Attorney Sabra believes it's likely Correia will not serve that amount of time behind bars.
There's good and bad about this case for the defendant, right? The good part is he has no criminal record. He's young. The bad part is there's 21 convictions. He did not cooperate with the government. And so those things are all under the sentencing guidelines are going to affect what the sentence is going to be. I would think the defendant will make their own recommendations. Attorney Reddington will make recommendations. I don't know if he'll recommend probation or certainly a much shorter term. And then the prosecution is going to make recommendations. And then ultimately, it's up to the judge.
Mayor Coogan says the negative publicity tied to the trial should not define the perception of the city moving forward.
Fall River is a funny place. I've lived here for a long time, and it's a place where people, get down on the city or get down on government, and that's not the way we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to work together as a team, and I don't know any reason that after the situation with what happened to the former mayor that we have to go negative. He and his family are going to work his way through it. I've not heard a negative word about that in government center. People say, whatever happens in September when he's sentenced, that's going to be where his life is going. But as a city, we have to move forward and try to stay on a high road and accentuate the positives. We have so much to be proud of down here that there's no reason that we stay on that dark side of that dark cloud. We have to go forward looking at what we can do better what we can do to help residents, and there should be a singular focus. How can we make Fall River a better place to live? That's it.
Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss, whose district includes Fall River, took time this week to answer questions at a virtual town hall sponsored by the One South Coast Chamber. The congressman began his remarks highlighting the work being done by the Biden administration in the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine and providing emergency financial support to residents, businesses, and state and local governments. As the economy recovers and reopens from the pandemic, Auchincloss agrees with local businesses in dire need of hiring employees who are making more in unemployment benefits than at work to let additional unemployment benefits expire this September.
As our economy reopens, and the governor has indicated this too, as there truly are no barriers for workers to find safe, remunerative employment, we should decrease the unemployment benefits. That's fully appropriate. We're not in a disaster anymore. We don't need disaster relief level spending. A stable, well-paying job is the best way that we can get people back on their feet. So I fully support that. The exact timeline of that is actually somewhat in the hands of the governor as well as it is with the federal government, because the governor has a lot of levers at his disposal for state unemployment benefit guidance that he needs to press on.
In addressing the current conflict in the Middle East, Auchincloss defended the right of Israel to take military action against terrorism brought upon by Hamas, but cautioned that any response should not escalate based solely on the ethnic conflicts within Palestinian-occupied territories.
There is, in parallel to this, and they're less intertwined, I think, than the media is reporting, increasingly ethnic conflict within Israel's mixed cities between Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews. And neither the extremists shouting death to Arabs or the extremists shouting death to Jews in these Israeli cities represent the values of Israel or America. And the Israeli government needs to reduce tensions, needs to restore order, and needs to ensure that this internecine conflict does not spiral into a sustained low-grade set of ethnic violence, because that would truly be cataclysmic for the peace and security of the Israeli state.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Bank teller, St. Anthony of Padua Federal Credit Union, located at 806 Bedford Street, is in need of a part-time Portuguese-speaking bank teller to provide account services to customers by receiving deposits, loan payments, cashing checks, issuing savings and withdrawals, and answering bank services questions. Job number 149-25242. Quality Assurance Technician, Precise Packaging LLC, located at 300 Riggenbach Road, number 4738, is looking for a full-time quality assurance technician to perform first piece, first article inspection and sample collection and present to customer for approval. Job number 149-24210. Medical Receptionist of Infectious Disease, Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is seeking a full-time medical receptionist of infectious disease to assist patients on the phone, in person, and coordinate and organize appointments and documentation. Job number 149-16652. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Summer Program Paraprofessional, job number 149-21262. Cosmetology Teacher, job number 149-23895. Speech Language Pathologist, job number 149-21470. Spanish Speaking Family Specialist, job number 149-21235. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
A Vecina Show A distribuição da vacina vai ser feita em fases. Em breve, todos terão a oportunidade de ser vacinados. De acordo com a CDC, apanhar a vacina ajuda a baixar o risco de contrair o Covid-19, assim como reduzir a gravidade do vírus se ficar doente. Também protege a sua família e a comunidade da infecção. Depois de receber a vacina, encorajamo-lo ao uso de máscara, a lavar as mãos e a praticar distanciamento social. A vacina é oferecida grátis para todos os residentes de Massachusetts. Marcações são exigidas. Saiba quando pode receber a vacina e faça uma marcação. Visite mass.gov/covidvaccine ou marque 211 no telefone. Proteja-se a si próprio e aos que estão à sua volta. Informe-se. Reserve a sua vaga e apanhe a injeção.
Welcome back. Dozens of spectators gathered on a perfect spring day last Saturday for the dedication of Fall River's replica Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall at Bicentennial Park. The project was 4 years in the making, spearheaded by a local committee led by local financial planner and Vietnam veteran Joseph Marshall.
I can't help but think about who these real people on the wall are, because they really were real people. Who they could have become, we'll never know, but we can honor them. It's the honor of those people and its families that left behind on this monument, and that's why it exists. These real people, these true heroes of the United States. With that, I truly want to thank the veterans and their families here today to share this tribute, long overdue and deserving. Let us not forget. And please remember that although the location of this wall is here in Fall River, the meaning and the spirit and the value of the wall is everyone's.
The keynote address was given by former Vietnam War General Richard Neal. He recounted his first visit to the wall in Washington, D.C., and remembered those he led in battle who gave the ultimate sacrifice, names among the 58,000 listed on the wall. He said Fall River should be proud of its commitment to all its veterans.
The people of Fall River have lived up to the bargain. You have done it in an extraordinary way with the building and dedication of this wall. And far more than that, with the Iwo Jima Monument and the other things. Obviously, you take remembering very important, and you take it to heart. Today's ceremony is this community's visible commitment by saying loud and clear, welcome home and thank you to those men and women who answered our nation's call and sacrificed in Vietnam. Some might wonder why we build these monuments, all of the ones I talked about down on the National Mall and the ones here. Why you built this Bicentennial Park, and why this wall? Well, quite simply, because you care, because you do not forget, you remember, because you truly understand the sacrifices that were made, and because you're all from Fall River.
Artwork created during the New Deal of the 1930s has a permanent new home at the Greater Fall River Art Association. President Dana Barnes tells us the 40 pieces of art were commissioned as part of the Works Progress Administration in the 1930s and are proudly being displayed in the grand staircase at the association's location on Belmont Street.
When Franklin Delano Roosevelt put through the New Deal, he said that in addition to like parks and recreations and roads and things, artists needed to find ways to make money too. So he passed out a bunch of money, and people could, the artists who they could paint, they could take advantage of it. They were paid probably next to nothing, but they were given money to paint, and all of those kinds of paintings went into public buildings. Post offices had a lot of them, libraries had a lot of them, public schools had a lot of them. Then in the 1950s, they found that they had a copious amounts of this kind of artwork, and they said, just throw it out. So somebody, and I don't know who, rescued. We had 40 total pieces of this art that was rescued out of a landfill. This is a treasure that the Smithsonian has given us permission to have this hanging here. I got permission from them because they are the ones who own this. This artwork can never ever be sold.
Okay.
The Smithsonian and the federal government own this. We are just the caretakers of this beautiful work.
The Art Association unveiled the project last weekend. Following renovations, the association plans a larger reopening of its gallery sometime in June. I'd like to thank correspondent Brian Fraga for his reporting on this story. We'll wrap up FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Nugget. Nugget here is a long-haired black and white cat, mostly black. He is very, very friendly, loves attention. In fact, sometimes he will come and he will beg for attention. Nugget here does have wobbly cat syndrome. Basically what that means is when he was young, even in the womb, his cerebellum did not develop fully, so he's got an extra little small one, and how that affects him, basically it affects his balance, fine motor skills, that kind of stuff. Like I said, he's perfectly normal. Other than that, it doesn't really affect him. He basically has compensated for it since he's been living with it for his whole life. So if you'd like to meet Nugget, come on down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Today we have Miss Paisley. Paisley was a surrender due to being nippy with the owner's grandchildren. So we think that she might have a little bit of an issue with children, so she would probably prefer a home without one. She is really, really sweet. She's an older gal. She's approximately 10 years old. So she would definitely want, just a companion to hang out on the couch with and snuggle up. She doesn't seem to be very high energy. Just a couple daily walks, I think, would suffice for her. She's a really sweet and timid lady. She warms up to you pretty quickly. She's not a shy girl. Paisley, I think, would do well. Is definitely a couch potato. She seems to really love to be snuggled up, and she's very calm dog. Being an older lady, she probably just wants to relax for the rest of her days. Yeah, if you're interested in coming to meet Miss Paisley, please come down to Forever Paws Animal Shelter. She would love to meet you guys.
The COVID-19 vaccine is here. The distribution of the vaccine is taking place in phases. Soon, everyone will have the opportunity to get vaccinated.
According to the CDC, getting the vaccine helps lower the risk of contracting COVID-19, along with reducing the severity of the virus if you get sick. It also protects your family and community from infection.
After receiving the vaccine, we encourage you to continue to wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distancing.
The vaccine is provided free of charge for all Massachusetts residents. Appointments are required.
Find out more about when you can receive the vaccine and schedule an appointment. Visit mass.gov/COVID vaccine or by calling 211.
Protect yourself and those around you.
Stay informed.
Secure your spot and get your shot.
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 That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. One programming note, join FRC Media in our coverage of the 2021 Bristol Community College Commencement Ceremony, Saturday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Channel 95. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information, as well as updates on the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Enjoy the great weather this weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.